So as Andy mentioned, we wanted to give you guys a bit of an overview of building energy efficiency, and where it starts is at the design process, or even earlier than that in the selection of the actual site. We like to see what's called an integrated design team put together that includes all of the people that are going to be involved, the core people involved in the building process, starting with the owner, the designer, architect, any engineers that may be required on the project. The general contractor ideally would be involved before the building even gets designed, that there's a relationship established with the owner to be able to communicate about, have a real open communication from the beginning. It establishes a trusting relationship where the owner and architect and contractor all trust one another. And from our experience, we've seen the most successful projects that go in that fashion. This project is a good example of that. Gene Mostad was involved with CTA and Watson's, and CTA had their mechanical engineering staff. We gave some input early on energy efficiency issues, and I'll let Gene speak to this more later, but I feel like the process went really smoothly and we ended up with a really good product. One thing that maybe did not happen on this project, but that we really encourage, is to establish an energy performance goal in the beginning. That goal is a threshold that you should not go over on an annual usage for a year. Basically looking at, okay, we want to look at what our energy efficiency goals are for the project and set sort of a standard that all design decisions are going to be made from. A lot of times it's kind of difficult if you don't set the goal, if you don't set an energy performance goal, like let's just say, Code or Energy Star, or we'll jump into some of the different ones. As Andy mentioned, Code is the worst. Yeah, I like how we have Energy Star blotted out at the top now, because you can't meet Code anymore if you build the Energy Star standards. The air tightness requirements have gone up with the Code, and so Energy Star is no longer any better. That's one option for an energy performance benchmark. We like to look at, another option would be just looking at a percentage better than the Code, saying, okay, we're going to build at 30% better. And Energy Star used to be that. It used to be, depending on the part of the country, some of them are 20% better, some are 15% better, depending on the region of the country. But setting that goal, saying we're gonna be so much better than Code. The 2030 Challenge is another example of a performance benchmark. And what the 2030 Challenge aims for is to, by the year 2030, that all buildings built would be carbon neutral. And from now until 2030, they've laid out a set of steps to help us get there. So in the year 2010, they say we want to be 60% better than the 2003 IECC. So they'll probably modify that with these changed codes, but that's just an example. They're saying 60% better. And the way that they verify that is we use energy modeling software during the design process to look at how the design building is tracking with the performance goal that we've established.
I thought of another one too, Russ, is the tax credit level. Would be another energy goal. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with the $2,000 tax credit, federal tax credit for energy efficient construction. And it's basically 50% better than Code. It's approximate, but that would be another performance benchmark that you could set at the beginning of a project.
The standard that we get the most excited about is the Passive House standard. It's a standard that originated out of Germany, and they aim for 90% reduction over current building energy efficiency levels. It's the only standard that we've found that gives a maximum BTUs per square foot per year for heating and for total energy use. All these other ones are just a percentage better than Code. You don't necessarily know how much energy the building's going to use at the end of the year. With Passive House, it says you can only use 4,750 BTUs per square foot per year.
Which is a very, very small amount of energy.
Very aggressive energy standard.
Yeah.
It's pretty much mandatory that you be you be involved in an integrated design process with Passive House standard. You have to set that as your goal before you even select the site and start designing the building.